I remember during not these elections, one of my reporters had got across to another newspaper, and she called me and said, Nades, I got a problem. I don't even recognize my story I wrote. They rewrote the story and put my name to it. And she was quite angry. And said, you can do one of those things. Walk away and go find another job. Or go and tell the editor, I don't want my name to it.
Yes.
Then she said, oh, we just got married. We are planning to start a family. Right? I don't have a job in hand. Say, if that case, you bite the bullet and wait. That is why editors are very important. This country is full of political appointees as editors of newspapers. So you actually try to think for the boss. If this is published, will the boss get angry or not? Right?
Yes.
But the boss may like it. But you are deciding for the boss.
That is, you've been an editor. Have you felt the need to change or modify a story because you know that there is that invisible hand that is at play?
No, you see, the only time I try to do something is if I find it defamatory,
Okay.
we may get into trouble for this. Okay, then I say send it to the lawyer to check.
Okay.
I'm not worried about the hidden hands and everything else.
Okay.
Because when I'm questioned, the documents are with me.
Okay.
I questioned the reporter, where do you get this information? Who gave it to you? Do you have copies? Have you kept records of your phone calls and your conversations? Let me see your notebook. So I know exactly you followed the procedures.
Yes.
So there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Okay? In the case of PK, okay,
Yeah.
we had humongous documents with me. Right? So what could they do?
What is your take on the editors now?
I don't know. I've left mainstream now for 8-9 years now.
Okay.
I hear about them. I just have a good laugh, right? And say good luck to them.
Right.
Okay?
Do you feel that they have the capabilities of maybe your time?
No, it's not the capabilities here anymore.
Right.
It's having the gall to stand up and say, we must publish this because it's a matter of public interest. Party interests and government interests that do not come in at all. So as long as you have editors who are subservient and say, yes, sir, 3 bags full, you're going to disappoint your readers. Hence, you see the drop in the readership and circulation of mainstream newspapers.
Yes. Speaking of circulation and readership, there is this influx of like TikTok and terms they use like content creators and citizen journalism. What is your take on this? Like more people are coming on board and reporting news. They call themselves journalists.
I always say these people are all either unemployed journalists or unemployable journalists. Right? They start this thing. Where do they get the facts? Where's their sourcing from? I don't believe 3/4 of what comes out. Last night I was listening to a TikTok video, and the guy is quoting things like he was not given adequate compensation and all that. This is on a SOXO case.
Okay.
And I asked myself, where did this guy get the information? Okay. No sourcing required, just name out. Right? So I am a discerning listener and follower of podcasts. But to the ordinary folk, you think, hey, this guy must be telling the truth. So these are the kind of people who should be pulled up for fake news. Not as journalists who check, double check, editors check, lawyers check before we publish. And we always have the thing called the right to reply. You don't try and reply to a blogger or one of those influencers. They reply you and dismiss you. Right? What legal recourse you want to sue them? You know who they are, number one.
Yep.
You do not have their address, and then their servers are all overseas.
Yeah.
Right? So the whole process, it's an expensive process.
Talk about fake news, right? What is your perspective about anti-fake news that is passed in 2018, right? During the time, our then Prime Minister Nadeswaran said it was to prevent false information. But some say it's to silence the voices on social media about 1MDB. So what is your perspective on this?
I was very much involved in this. I was anti the law. You see, some background that before this came up, the articles on 1MDB were appearing. First thing, Azalina, who was the law minister, said, we are going to impose life sentence for breach of Official Secrets Act.
Okay.
And weeping, right? They were trying to put the fear. It did not work. At that time, Najib had a majority. He introduced a Fake News Act. It was aimed actually not at the TikTok fellows. It was aimed particularly at the media, people like us, the Age, the Malaysian Insider, Malaysia Kini, were publishing these articles, details of the 1MDB transactions. Amidst this, Najib had an interview or was interviewed by three so-called top journalists, editors on TV3, where he came out smelling like a good bunch of roses. He had not done anything wrong. And nobody believed that interview. I sat back and watched it. I started poking holes in the questions. The questions were prepared.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't call that journalism. You call that propaganda. And it didn't work. So they brought in the Fake News Act. It was very short-lived, which they never used on anyone. Right? So that is what I say. You stand up. I'm against. I'm all for registration of social media, so that social media platforms have a responsibility to ensuring content is accurate.
Yeah.
Right. Today you can say anything and just post it, and people start believing, and you're spreading false news and everything else. So I'm against such things. So I support registration of social media platforms. Okay? But I'm against any action by the state, a new law to control fake news. They can use Defamation Act. They can use the Multimedia Act.
Yeah.
Section
Multimedia.
233
Yes.
is so wide and encompassing.
Yeah.
Any content that causes annoyance, embarrassment, blah blah.
Seditious.
Forget the sedition. That MCMC Act alone is enough. But the problem we have is there's always selective persecution. Right? So if you don't like my face, I get persecuted. If I'm your friend, brother, carry on.
Yeah.
So that is the double standards that has led to this whole anger with people. This guy can say so much about royalty, race, and religion. Oh, I utter one word, devil has come after me. Questions are being raised. Why me? Why not him?
Right.
So as long as there's disparity in the application and enforcement of laws, you can never sort this out.
Right. On a lighter note, I mean, you have done so many years in journalism. What is one story that you've written that is so memorable that sticks out in your mind?
Yes, I think this was in the 80s.
Okay.
I think some of you all were not born. There was a new school building built next to a wooden shed. The school was ready, the classrooms were ready, and bureaucracy caused a few things. There was no electricity supply for the next building, although the wires were all connected. The National Electricity Board at that time did not connect the wire to the new building.
Okay.
I published that story on page 1 of the Malay Mail. That time Malay Mail was a local paper.
Okay.
And pointed out that this is what's happening. And those days, Saturday used to be a half-day working day. On Saturday morning, electricity was connected to the new building.
Wow.
Right? That's my most memorable story that I got results immediately. But I've written hundreds of stories for which there were no results, no response.
The self-satisfaction, right? Being a
Yeah,
journalist.
being a
Yes,
journalist, that
yes.
you've made some
Yeah,
change.
some
Yes.
You've also been a crime reporter for many, many, many years.
Yes.
One case that sticks out, and I've read this before, the fact that you were in Petaling Street, I believe.
I was in the Klang bus station.
Okay.
With a handcuff dangling from my left hand.
Okay.
And I took a minibus those days to Masjid Mia, roamed around the streets of Kuala Lumpur for 2 hours. Nobody arrested me, nobody pounced on me.
Wow.
This was to show public apathy.
Ah.
So I worked with the late Inspector General of Police, and he sent 2 officers to follow me,
Okay.
and we had great pictures, and it worked.
Wow.
True enough, nobody bothered.
Yeah.
In a crowded minibus,
Wow.
my colleague was following me, Frankie De Cruz, told the bus driver to stop the bus. Let's drive into the Drivers Road police station.
Okay.
And we'll all jump on him. Nobody died. Okay. So that shows public apathy.
You don't see that anymore. I mean, you don't.
There are poor imitations,
Right.
right? There have been poor imitations, like pretending you're a beggar and all that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work that way.
Wow, that was really interesting. But in your time as a journalist, has it desensitized you to news? With this repeated controversies or crimes and so on, has it desensitized you? Has it become numb?
No. You see, the thing is this. It becomes routine for you to go through it.
Right.
And then you look and say, what's so different from the other?
Yeah.
Then we talk to the crime reporter, he will tell you a story.
Yeah.
This one happened this way. The police don't want to put it that way. So why you are listening to the police? You are listening to me or the police? So there are new facts may emerge, new methods are used. At that time, we did not have these cyber crimes and scammers on handphones and all that. Now, every day, the scammers are getting innovative,
Yes.
right? I watched videos on how scammers have been busted
Yes.
in India, in Australia, and in Laos and Cambodia. And you see a new pattern emerging. So you must be always keep yourself updated on this. Nothing is new in crime.
Okay, so you've mentioned undercover. You've gone undercover before.
Yeah.
Have you done that a lot before?
Long before I became famous. Now I can't go undercover. I get recognized. Sometimes I go to a restaurant, have my meal. Somebody said, your lunch already paid. With a note there. Thank you very much for saving Malaysia.
Wow.
So it happened. So people recognize me now.
Right.
I post those selfies in supermarket.
Wow.
Sign autographs and all that.
Voices.
But so always send fresh faces.
Right.
Not exactly. The last I did, but 10 years ago,
Okay.
corrupt council officer
Okay.
wanted her to look at inside the house because all renovated with corrupt money. So I got one of my young reporters to go and deliver a bouquet of flowers.
Okay.
I look around, take all the details, and come back. So the young reporter came back and said, "Boss, itu macam film Hindustan." So what's that? No, there are 2 stairs of staircase with a balcony in the center.
I remember that.
So you send people unknown faces. Like me, I walk around, everybody recognizes me.
Right. But in your earlier days, did you do a lot of?
Yes, I did a lot of work. I went and bought police uniforms,
Wow.
bought handcuffs.
Oh my goodness.
So, so it helps. But take precautions. Always have somebody stand by,
Right.
follow you or shadowing you, so that you don't, the moment you get into trouble,
Yeah.
there's rescue at work.